Gary, how do you feel about being reinstated?
Outspoken online, but tight-lipped on his doorstep this morning. Gary Lineker back on air and keen to get back to normal.
Calm down.
His standoff with the BBC ended with boss Tim Davie apologising. But speaking with the BBC, the Director-General stood by his decision to suspend the presenter.
I think it was a very big moment in terms of us saying we have to take stock here, we have to take action. We did take action, which we thought was proportionate. And as the BBC, we believe we did the right thing. I think I did the right thing. Having said that, I think you have to look at the balance here and act fairly.
The BBC's hand was clearly forced by what happened here over the weekend. Its football coverage decimated after a mass walkout by its pundits in solidarity with Lineker. No final score, seemingly the final straw. Taking to Twitter, Lineker said, "After a surreal few days, I'm delighted that we have navigated a way through this. I want to thank you all for the incredible support, particularly my colleagues at BBC Sport, for the remarkable show of solidarity." Less solid, though, is the way forward. The BBC announcing an independent review of its social media policy, as it aims to balance two of its, at times, conflicting principles: impartiality and free speech. By returning Gary Lineker to presenting duties, the BBC has resolved its short-term problem. There'll be no more disruption to its sports programming. But in the long term, fundamental questions still remain over how it reconciles its impartiality policy with the tweeting habits of its high-profile presenters who don't work in news.
The BBC managed to shoot itself in the foot by suspending Gary, which then meant actually that they were more at risk by looking like they were giving in to a culture war lynch mob than if they had simply said to Gary, why don't you keep doing the programme and we'll have some longer term discussions about the way forward. So the BBC managed to end up with a rather inglorious position.
Lineker found himself at the centre of attention after criticising the government's asylum seeker policy. He will apparently avoid political controversy going forward, but after tweeting support for refugees once again today, he's unlikely to remain entirely on the sidelines. Ivor Bennett, Sky News.